One of my other passions, of course, is crocheting. And I made like a crochet little, it's going to be a purse. And I'm going to sew a lining into it. The lining's going to look like this. And this is the bottom. I already measured it and cut it out with it's got like a really big seam allowance, but I'd rather it be, you know, I'd rather it have more seam allowance than not enough. And I'm going to be sewing, you know, more fabric around the edges of it, and then I'm going to finish out the purse by making a purse strap, and I still have to crochet the flap for it and then sew a button on. So what I've done for this was I just basically set the purse on top of it and measured around it with markings with a Sharpie, and I'm going to sew two pieces together to kind of make the bottom fabric a little bit thicker, and these edges are going to end up on the inside of the lining, so I don't really need to worry about the edge right now. I'm going to do it, I was going to do a zigzag stitch. I guess I'll still do that just to try to help to keep the fabric from fraying. And I'll do it at the mark between 2 and 3. So I normally just like to line it up with the presser foot here. It's probably about like 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance, which is kind of what I wanted to allow for anyways, because again I'm going to be sewing on a lining. And I guess I don't really need to do a back stitch because I'm going to be meeting it at the end over there. So I have cut out two pieces, not specifically like super perfect or anything, but whatever. So I didn't exactly measure these either. Honestly, sometimes I just kind of do stuff, but I figured it would work out anyways. I'll make it work. It's 10 inches by almost 3.5 inches. I'm still not very good with, I think that's 3.25 inches. I'm going to fold it into meet in the middle, like so. And then I'm going to fold it in like this. There we go. And now I've made some little strapping. I'm gonna go ahead and do it with the other one too. This one is also measured the same. I just folded some fabric and cut it, so not quite lining up, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, now for this one, I'm not going to do zigzag stitch because of how many times I folded it up. And I'm trying to decide if I need to change my needle. Let me figure that out. Okay, so the sewing machine will do it. I'll start right here. Alright, and now I have made 2 little strappy thingies. Alright. Now I'm trying to figure out, I don't know what my camera's doing. Now I'm trying to figure out how big I need this fabric to be. So I'm going to measure this. It's 11 inches. And I want to give it some seam allowance. So I'm going to do 11 3/4 of an inch just to give me some extra, and then I don't need to measure, I need to measure how deep it is. And then it looks like I need to sew in some crochet tails before I get started. Let's see. So it's almost 8 inches, so it's an 8 by 11. Okay. So I need an 11 by 8. I'm going to cut right here on this edge. My kids are asleep. I don't feel like going back in there for a marker. And I need some seam allowance. So actually, maybe I don't need to cut anything off. And then I need it to be 8 inches, but I'm going to give it, I'm going to cut it at 9 inches, I suppose. I cannot cut a straight line to save my life. I'm an artist. You think it would be easy for me to cut a straight line, but it's not. Okay. Hopefully I didn't just mess this up, because I don't have any extra fabric. And our truck is now messed up, so I won't be going anywhere for a long time. Yeah, totally messed that up. Okay. I'll figure it out like I usually do. Now what I'm going to do, because I cut 4 of these, I'm going to sew them together. Sew the pocket on one side, because I'm going to put a pocket on the inside, and I have to sew the pocket together. And then I can sew the lining together, and then I can sew the lining to the inside of the purse. And I also have to sew the strap. Okie dokie. So now I've got the pocket that I have cut down to size to fit a large phone or whatever you want to put in it. But I'm just gonna sew the edges so that it will have some clean edges on the inside of the purse, and I won't have to worry about sewing anything in. I won't have to worry about sewing anything in. Not sure if that made sense or if you could hear me while the sewing machine was going. This is my first time to do a sewing machine video. So what I'm going to do is, I did both wrong sides, I put both right sides together and the wrong sides are facing out, so I'm going to leave an opening so that I can flip it and then sew it on the outside. I left an opening, I'm flipping it out, corners out, and then I'm going to sew the edges for some reinforcement and just sew this shut, and then I'm going to sew it to the inside of one of the purse, whatever, it's going to go on the inside of the purse lining. So I've got it flipped out, I closed in the little end over here, I put it inward, and now I'm just going to sew on the very outside edges of the pocket. Really. A little uneven at the bottom, but for a purse pocket, I don't think it really looks terrible. Now I'm going to attach it to the side that I want it on. I'm not really sure how to tell which side I want it on. Really, they both look the same, so I guess I'll just make this where it goes. Now I'm just going to tack it down. Now I think for this I am going to use the zigzag stitch. I'm going to put it on at 4 length and width. Shame on me, I forgot to do a back stitch. I'm going to end up having to come back and do that. Okay, so got the pocket on there. Now for the tricky part. I think I'm going to... I'm starting to get sleepy. Okay. Oh, put him on the wrong side again. What are you doing? I'm tired. That's probably not pins. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew this. I didn't go back and do the, darn it. This is what happens when you try to sew while you're tired, guys. I've been trying to finish this purse all summer while my kids are here, and it has not worked out very good. Okay, so I did not do the stitch here. I also need to be zigzag. Okay, so attach that down. Glad I realized that before I got any further, because that would have been kind of hard to fix. Alright, now I'm ready to continue. Just put this side back together. Redo. One zigzag, 3.5, 2.5, and go. Up again. I need to leave the bottom open because I'm sewing it to the circle. Yeah, good idea. So now I have to pin this to the circle. Here is said circle. Here is the fabric in question. And I guess it's kind of an oval, so the long parts need to be on the sides there. Hopefully this lines up. I'm still new to doing this. I've only made one of these so far, and that's what I use as my daily carrying purse. And I thought, well, on top of paintings, it would be kind of neat if I could sell crocheted purses. Finally figured it out. Had to keep cutting away until it finally fit in there. But I got it to work. So I also just did this where I put the D-ring and the little strap thing that I made that's going to go on the sides of the purse, and I sewed them in place. And now I'm going to go ahead and sew these onto the sides of the purse before I sew the lining on the inside. And then I'm going to sew the lining on the inside. And I think I'm going to call it a night. So, 2 hours later at 1:30 in the morning, here I am. I have gotten the lining in it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but it is on there. There's the pocket. And I decided to go ahead and do the lining first instead of trying to sew through the straps. So now I'm going to just sew the lining on real quick. So I dropped the feed dogs and I got it in there. So there's a little button on the back here where you drop that. I have never sewed anything without the feed dogs dropped, so I guess I'm assuming that means I'm going to be feeding it. Honestly, maybe it's a good thing that I can't go too fast right now. This is weird pulling it through here like this, though. I didn't even know that I could do this. Gotta kind of pull it consistently. Now to go backwards, I guess I just pull it towards me. Alright. I think it's the first time I've ever done that. Well, for some reason now my feed dogs aren't coming back up. Okay. So FYI, for anyone who wonders, when the feed dogs get dropped, in order to raise them back up, just switching the lever behind the machine isn't enough. You have to turn the wheel towards you a couple of times in order to get the feed dogs to come back up. But they do come back up, and I guess I needed to clean this out anyways because it was very yucky, but I'm gonna screw the plate back on and then continue sewing. So I am going to change the needle out. I was reading online that a needle over 100/16 is the best needle to use for sewing through thick things, but all I have is 110/18 and a bunch of smaller numbered needles, so I'm going to switch this one out. And there's just this little like, I don't know what to call it, little tab thing here, or nut that you unscrew, and then you make sure that you put the flat side of the needle towards the back, and then you just tighten it back up. My bobbin's already threaded in there. Go in the needle. You gotta lick it to make sure it goes in there. There we go. Okay. Yeah, the needle that I had on there was a 90/14, which would not have been sharp enough to go through that thickness. Okay, so sewing through this big thick fabric, it did help to change the needle. I left the feed dogs up and I changed my length and width of the stitch to a 3. So that did work. And I'm just trying to be really careful. I'm gonna take this needle out. I already took the top one out. And I left the presser foot up. Can't remember if I said that or not. Trying to make it to where you can see it, but sorry. Still want to lift the presser foot up anyways, even though I know it's okay. Oh no. Okay, good. Oh, I was so worried that was going to be messed up. And I just had a huge mess to clean up with it raveling up under there, and I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to do this. Because I know I could probably do it by hand, but it would take a really long time. I don't think it looks terrible. And it is on there. Now for the other side. So I think the problem the entire time that I was trying to do this, and I did get it, now I just have to attach these little clips to the strap. Anyhow, I finally did get it sewed on, and I think the whole problem was that I was trying to do it with the presser foot up because it was really hard to get this thing under there. And I finally did it with the presser foot down, and it worked. So got both of them on the sides. I think it's going to look pretty neat. And, well, this is the back. I think it's going to look pretty neat anyways. But now I'm going to cut the purse strap. I was reading that you cut it at 50 to 60 inches. And I think because of my purse length, I'm going to cut it at 50 inches. And it's going to be an adjustable strap. So I'm going to... I measured this, it's 10 inches, which I only want each strip to be 4 inches wide, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it on this line right here, and I'm going to fold it into fourths, because I need it to be 1 inch wide. Line corners up. Okay, so I sewed the second one, I sewed the two together, now I'm going to sew the third one on. And okay, so after about 25 minutes of pinning, you should have something that looks about like this. And I'm going to leave the ends open for a minute instead of folding it in and pinning it closed. I'm going to do like a test run where I hold it up over my body to see how long I want it, and then I'll let y'all know what length I decided on. It actually looks about right to me. I'm going to go ahead and test it out and measure it. So it's about 79 inches long. If you don't want it to be that long, keep in mind this is going to be an adjustable purse strap. and I'm going to have to fold in the ends, so that's going to take some length away. And then you're also going to be folding up the ends over the clips and then sewing that too. And then you need some length for the adjuster. You have to sew that on too. So I'm going to get all that ready. I'm going to go rewatch the video to make sure that I'm doing it the right way, and then I'll show you what to do. So I guess since I'm good with the length, I'm going to go ahead and close the end up. Try and tuck that in there. Alrighty. Now I'm basically just going to be sewing down the edge and going around it in a big rectangle. I don't think I'm going to do zigzag on this one. I'm just going to go with it on a length of 3 and a width of 3. Make sure everything's still the same. And make sure you always turn this when you've got the needle in there on the corner, that way it's just better to pivot. I don't think I went far enough with that. There we go. Gotta make sure I stay on the edge as best as possible, so I'm not trying to go too fast. Slow and steady is definitely what's gonna win the race. When I go fast, things get crazy. Okay, so first what you do, and I didn't make my fabric, my fabric's too wide for this. I checked it with the clamps, but not this thing. So you stick it in like so, and then you put it on the other side. Okay, so it's going to look like this, and then you're going to turn it around, and you're going to sew this part down. So we're going to do a box stitch to close this in. Oh god. Don't really know the best way to do that. Okay, so you've got this like this, and you're going to put the swivel hook over here on this side so that it's facing down, like so. Okay, and then we're going to take the end of the strap and stick it through here like this, and then you're going to come back down and stick this through here, and boy. Nothing is working right for me right now. Okay. So, there's that. And then we're going to pull it through. So now what we're going to do is where you have this, I don't know what to call it, little adjuster, slider adjuster, you're going to put this on the other end. I'm going to stick it on there like this so that you can fold this over, and this is going to be folded under, you know, so that it looks right. If that makes sense. Okay, so now we're just going to sew that in place, and I don't have a rivet machine, so I'm not going to be putting any rivets in this or anything, but you can if you want to, that's up to you. Now we've got that stitch into place. My strap is done, and I don't have to do any more sewing. Now the rest of it is going to be crocheting the flap on top of it, but let me grab the purse real quick so you can see how the strap turned out. Okay, so now a little bit. So here's the purse with my D-rings sewed onto the sides, and then I've got my clips. This is really advanced for me. I've never done this before. I made purses when I was in high school, but not like this. I made a purse with an adjustable strap. Yay, me! I know it's not perfect, but I think it's pretty neat. I think it's special. And so now I'm just going to put a flap on the top of it and then make it to where it closes right here with a button. And yep, I'm going to get started on that. And here's what it looks like finished. Got the flap fixed, finished on there. With the adjustable strap. And you can make it pretty long. Open it up. It's got lining, it's got a pocket, would fit a phone, and some other stuff in it, and it's big enough for wallets and all kinds of stuff. But yep, crochet meets sewing. I'm very excited about making this, and I'm gonna make lots more of these in many different colors. Alright, thanks for tuning in.